in terms of the National Strategic Intelligence Act. That then will tell us that the SAPS crime intelligence accounts for both overt-related activities together with all other South African Police Service divisions to the Portfolio Committee of Police in Parliament, accounting for Program 4 of the South African Police Service. And the very same division, because of its establishment under the National Strategic Intelligence Act of 1994, together with other intelligence agencies, it also accounts now for covert-related activities to the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, also at Cabinet or Parliament level. Going back to my responsibility as listed on paragraph 23 of my affidavit, first one is the intelligence management that talks to the whole intelligence cycle from collection to analysis as well as dissemination. The second responsibility talks to the strategic oversight, where the environment is expected to collect and package strategic intelligence for the provisioning of such intelligence to the National Intelligence Coordination Center, together with all other intelligence agencies. The provisioning of actionable intelligence to the crime prevention and investigation, and to manage the resources, both overt and covert, and also to liaise and coordinate with other foreign intelligence agencies through the platforms that are in place, like Interpol and also the SADC region coordination of intelligence. As I've reflected, the key responsibility is talking to the dissemination or ensuring that the intelligence products are disseminated then to operational environments as well as at strategic level. The other key responsibility is to ensure compliance with legal requirements, both on Program 4 or within SAPS, and also the legal requirements then that are guiding the intelligence agencies of the country, and to ensure that there is support services then that is looking after all operational environments of the division.
You can continue.
In explaining those key responsibilities, commissioners, one will then deduct that it means crime intelligence remains the cornerstone of SAPS operations. More especially if we look at the shift of our traditional crime threat analysis, moving or leaning more on organized crime, that then will tell us that this is the crucial time where then the effective intelligence within SAPS will be required. Without getting into details on paragraph 25, I am indicating that crime intelligence utilize both conventional and unconventional methods in terms of collecting intelligence for operational purposes. In paragraph 26, also, which is in line with my conclusion as per the previous stanza on my affidavit, my extensive experience within the division crime intelligence is positioning me to address the critical issues, more especially that are referring to the infiltration of both the division as well as the South African Police Service by criminal cartels. Having served in these key leadership roles and also managed sensitive intelligence operations, I've gained in-depth understanding of sophisticated methods that are applied nowadays with organized crime groupings to compromise the operations of South African Police Service as well as the operations of the division itself. This background allows me to identify vulnerabilities in advance and then implement the most effective countermeasures, and also because one of our responsibilities as the Division Crime Intelligence is to implement counter-intelligence measures that are directed towards protecting the operations of the South African Police Service from both the internal within SAPS and outside of SAPS, from making our operations then unsuccessful.
You mean the internal and external threats to the work of the SAPS? Okay.
Yes, Commissioners. It is very unfortunate, Commissioners, that nowadays these 2 points of threats are more made possible with the strength of the internal part. The interventions in the SAPS have never been so important like nowadays, because of the level of threats that are from within the department or the organization itself. On my next part of the statement, I will be focusing on the PKTT, its establishment, expanding on its working model, as well as successes, and also to demonstrate the reasons related to the ineffectiveness that have never been seen before or made to be ineffective of the political killings task team as a reason for its disbandment. Thank you, Chair.
General Khumalo, before you turn to the establishment of the PKTT, when you speak of the threat being so pronounced, is that related to the evidence you will be providing to the Commission in Part B of your statement? And perhaps in camera, is that what you mean by the threats? Will you be speaking to those?
That is very correct, Commissioners. It refers to the level of internal threats that are making it easier for the external threats to thrive, more especially facing the levels of organized crime that we have to deal with within the country. And it will be contained in my further evidence that I will produce then when I talk to the infiltration of SAPS. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. You may turn now to the topic of the establishment of the task team. And you can begin with, from paragraph 27.
Thank you, Commissioners. Talking to the formation of the political killings task team, the background thereof was made, also was placed before this commission by the National Commissioner as well as the Provincial Commissioner of KwaZulu-Natal, and I can confirm that the Political Killings Task Team was established at a time when then these political killing incidents were increasing in KwaZulu-Natal during the period leading up to 2018, roughly from the year 2011 up until 2018, when then there was a need for the establishment of this Political Killings Task Team. Following the directive by the President of the Republic when establishing the interministerial committee that was specifically mandated to ensure that there is accountability for these politically motivated incidents. The IMC then was established by the President, which was made up of the ministers from the State Security Agency, the Defense and Military Veterans, the police, as well as Justice and Correctional Services, which by then was still a one department. The IMC was chaired or led by the Minister of Police, who was then, during the time of establishment, General Begicele. The IMC was mandated, as I've said, then to ensure the accountability for these incidents, but most importantly, to ensure that there is corroborative effort between the national as well as provincial governments in terms of dealing with these issues. Commissioners, maybe then I will take an opportunity between or from paragraph 29 to 30 to explain the common misperception that we have seen and heard around the establishment of this Political Killings Task Team. There is a perception that talks to this Political Killings Task Team as formed as part of response to the findings of the Moerane Commission of inquiry into political killings in the same province of KwaZulu-Natal, which is not the case or not correct. As far as I recall, more especially as I was part of the initial stages of the Political Killings Task Team in July 2018, the Moerane Commission findings were only published in 2019 when the Political Killings Task Team was in place or established already. As I've indicated, the processes of establishing the Political Killings Task Team started in May 2018 with the planning and also putting together the resources that will be utilized. Hence, then it commenced its operations in July. Of course, the Moerane Commission had findings that came after the team was already established. One of the findings talks to the loss of public confidence in the criminal justice system in that province in relation to these cases that are politically related in nature. As part of recommendations, the Moerane report talks to the importance of recruiting and training as well as deploying police officers that will be able or that are properly qualified to deal with the situation as it was the case then, as I've indicated, from 2011 to 2018. One can safely say that it happened that most of the recommendations by Moerane Commission were implemented in advance by the political killings task team, which was already in place. So those findings are contained in our initial threat and risk assessment of the threat that we had to deal with, which is political killings in the province.
General, did the Moerane Commission, did it consider the work of the PKTT at all? Or the PKTT as an organization at all?
One can speculate, commissioners, that it did because the political killings task team was already in place when then the commission was still continuing. There were participants to the commission that were also part of the political killings task team leadership at strategic level.
Thanks, General. Would it be correct then to say that the extracts that you've quoted from the Commission, from the Moerane Commission, resonated with what you were observing in your leadership role as the PKTT? Would that be correct?
Yes, Commissioners, that will be correct. As we moved along implementing our concepts within the political killings task team, we were also putting the Moerane Commission findings and recommendations on the table, so as then we can see that we are not off track. There are areas that are talking to the recommendations of Moerane Commission that were implemented after the Moerane Commission's report.
Thank you. Can you go to paragraph 31 then, to 34, where you speak about the constitution of the PKTT?
Thank you, Commissioners. On paragraph 31, I am submitting that the political killings task team was established and constituted administratively by the National Commissioner of Police, which was by then the retired General Sithole. And it was not created through any legislation or regulations. It was, and it is still one of the task teams that will be established by the National Commissioner from time to time. It was established as an ad hoc intervention to deal with the threat of political killings in the province, focusing in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Of course, then, as I've hinted earlier on, that the mandate of the political killings task team will now and again be extended then to other provinces and to other threats other than the political killings. On paragraph 32.
Can I just check something with you, General? Does that apply to all other task teams that you are aware of? Are they usually established by a national commissioner and not, say, by ministers?
That is correct, Commissioners. The the task teams, maybe before I get straight to the question, let me refer to the background of this particular political killings task team. There was a provincial task team that was in place in KZN dealing with the same matters, which was not established by the IMC. It was established by the provincial commissioner in consultation with the national commissioner. By then, it was provincial-based and using the provincial resources. Then, when the matter or the issue of political killings caught the president's eyes or the national level eyes, that is when then the president appointed the IMC, because the province as well as the provincial subs seemed to be failing to address the problem. Hence then when it was escalated to national, it was the national commissioner who had to establish or upgrade the provincial task team to the national task team, which was going to be overseen by the IMC that was established by the president.
The question, more pertinently, as I understand it, is whether other task teams were also set up in the same way by the national commissioner.
Yes.
I see that it's 11 o'clock. General, I trust that you will remember what the question was and respond at 11:15, or Advocate Hassim will repeat the question. Let us adjourn until 11:15. Yes, Advocate Hassim.
Chair, when we left off, the witness was about to answer a question, and the question, General, is you were discussing the point you make at paragraph 31 about the team being constituted administratively by the National Commissioner, and the question is whether this is how other task teams, national task teams, have been constituted, or is it only the PKTT?
Thank you, Commissioners. All the task teams are constituted administratively by the National Commissioner, who has to assign the resources to the task team, including financial resources. The IMC is appointed or established by the President. It's appointed at a cabinet level to ensure that the resources of national are then also taken down to a province where then the National Commissioner has to implement the safety and security measures that are talking to the identified threat or complaint.
So the answer to the question is yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Ms. Hassim, if I may, if I can just take you one question back because of an explanation that you gave later on. I asked the question whether the Moirani Commission considered the role and the work of the PKTT. I just want to clarify, when you said PKTT, there was participation, did you mean the PKTT is now constituted in 2018 or the provincial task team that participated in the Moirani Commission?
Thank you, Chair. The provincial task team that was in place when the Moerane Commission was constituted, and looking at the political killings incidents that the provincial killings task team was working on, they were participating at all levels, from the police to provincial government to the Moerane Commission.
So that takes us to paragraph 33. No, sorry, paragraph 32. Can you elaborate on that, please, for the Commission?
Thank you. Commissioners, paragraph 32 talks to the second level of the strategy when then the IMC had directed that an integrated strategic plan needs now to be developed, so as then other criminal justice stakeholders can be part of the intervention. Then that strategic plan was then approved by the IMC, which was then talking to the two main stakeholders, which is South African Police Service as well as National Prosecuting Authority, taking a leading role in the development and implementation of such strategy. Moving to paragraph 33, one is highlighting the fact that the PKTT as an operational level or operational wing of this intervention, its work was overseen by the National Steering Committee at national level, the IMC, as well as the Presidency of South Africa, of the Republic of South Africa, that had established the Interministerial Committee.
And what do you mean by overseen in this context?
The overseen by the National Steering Committee, I'm referring to the fact that the resources that were deployed in the PKTT since July 2028 were no longer the provincial resources, but were national resources. That is why then the National Steering Committee had to oversee and account for the deployment of those resources.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you conclude then on paragraph 34?
Thank you, Commissioners. In conclusion, the PKTT that was operating in KwaZulu-Natal under my direct supervision, as well as Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi as the Provincial Commissioner, focused on addressing politically motivated incidents in that province of KwaZulu-Natal, as I've said, directed by the National Steering Committee and then accountable to the Interministerial Committee as well as to the President. And then in the Eastern Cape, the PKTT investigated crimes within the University of Fort Hare as designated or directed by the National Commissioner.
General, what does that entail? PKTT operates primarily in KwaZulu-Natal under my supervision. What does that supervision entail? As I understood your earlier answer, you were based in Pretoria and the PKTT operated in KZN initially. So what was the nature of your supervision of the PKTT? Was it merely reporting or what did it involve exactly?
Yes, thanks, Commissioners. One of the good practices that we have implemented in the political killings task team is to improve on accountability, which talks to continuous reporting. I will explain that when I get to the reporting structures. But it means that even if you are not physically in the operational area, you are still supervising and giving guidance because you are getting daily reports that are talking to the activities as well as the feedback on each and every activity.
So practically, how would you do that if you are in Pretoria?
Based in Pretoria, I still receive those daily reports. I'm still able to guide the investigations with continuous interaction with the commander, operational commander that is on the ground, and then I'll do visits now and again if there is a need. But then there are those periodical visits that one will pay to the team.
General, the minister, you say at the time the minister was Minister Cele when the PKTT was established. In your recollection, did Minister Cele, outside of the IMC, the Interministerial Committee, did he give any directions to the PKTT, instructions or guidance outside of the component of the IMC?
According to my recollection and my knowledge as I've been there, there were no instructions that will come from the minister as a chair. The chair as well as the IMC, they will receive the progress report from the political killings task team on continuous basis.
Thank you. General, we're going to be going through a section now. You deal with the issue of reporting structures. As you do so, could you provide the Commission with information as to how often these structures reported to each other and what the reporting line was? So you would begin now at paragraph 35.
Thank you, Commissioners. From paragraph 35, where we are talking to the reporting structures of the political killings task team, as it's always, or it's part of the 5-pillar approach, that you first determine the operational area. In this case, the mission or operational area was the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Now, for the proper implementation of the strategy, it has got that requirement that you need to cut your mission area into small, manageable parts, so as then you are able to be everywhere. It is taking the mode of, I will refer to the SAPS, the organization that I know very well, that is represented or that is managed at national level, but represented then up to grassroots or station level. So our approach in this project was the same. We determined the whole province as the mission area as it was affected by these incidents, and then we divided the province into 4 parts, which are the south coast of the province, the north coast, the Midlands, and the central part. And then we had to put then those small manageable teams in those areas that will be responsible for the daily activities which are reported on daily basis at the Mission Area Coordination Center that is, or that was situated then at the provincial office.
So did those smaller units, the Tactical Joint Operational Centers, report to the Mission Area Joint Operational Center? Or how did that work and how often?
As I indicated, Commissioners, earlier on, that we were and are still implementing the analysis-led investigation. So at the mission area, head office level, we will have then the commanders that are experts on each and every part of, firstly, analysis. The different parts of analysis, there will be commanders at a mission area level, as well as the commander of investigations, that they will sit then at that head office level to give guidance to these 4 teams. But the same structure and expertise that are found at mission area level will be duplicated at all tactical level, those 4 small manageable structures, so as then they are able to give guidance also at that level.
Thank you. I'm just trying to get a sense of practically how that would work. I understand what you're saying about giving guidance, but practically, how would that work? How often would they meet, for example?
Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. As I've indicated earlier on, that one of the best practices or pillars of this approach, firstly, it emphasizes more on command and control. It emphasizes more on discipline. It emphasizes more on accountability, irrespective of the level. You may be at a very lower level of SAPS, but you are still accountable for each and every action or tasking or activity that is expected of you. So that is done on daily basis at a tactical level. And then on daily basis, the commanders there will submit the report at mission area, head office level. So the mission area is moving together with these 4 teams continuously or daily. And then once a week, then they will have that extended mission area meeting where the 4 commanders will sit with the commanders at mission area level to plan for the week or month. In other words, they will be giving the medium-term directives, so as then at tactical level, then they are able to give those daily taskings that are inputting into the medium-term directive given every week.
Thank you. So that's the at operational level, and then in paragraph 36, you deal with the reporting lines above the operation. Well, from the MAJOC upwards. So yes. Can you take the Commission through that, please?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe then to explain paragraph 36 properly, so I will start from where I ended with the 4 small manageable areas in the province that are reporting on daily basis to the mission area. And then the mission area, they will consolidate the weekly reports. At tactical level, it's daily reports. And then at the end of the week, the mission area, in preparation for the weekly meeting, so as they are able to guide the lower level. And then the MAJOC, or the mission area, will then report to the provincial steering committee, and then and thereafter the provincial steering committee, together with the leader of the operation, will report then to the national steering committee During the previous years, the reportings to the provincial steering committee as well as the national steering committees, it was always, every time, there will be an interministerial committee. So as then all the structures from grassroots level will be having the common understanding on the progress in preparation for the reporting to the interministerial committee.
Thank you. Is there anything further on those reporting structures? If not, then we can go to the organogram.
So maybe then, commissioners, if I may indicate the importance of these reportings. I've touched on the main purpose of the 4 small manageable teams reporting on daily basis to the mission area command structure. The further reporting, it's not only about like to the provincial steering committee as well as the national steering committee. It's mainly to escalate the challenges that cannot be attended to or resolved at provincial or at MAJOC, at the mission area level, so as then the provincial steering committee can intervene. Same applies then to the national steering committee that is responsible for the deployment of the national competencies. Same applies then to the IMC. I will make an example of the report that was made to the IMC, which was then escalating the challenges that were coming from tactical level, the 4 small manageable areas, to the mission area, and they were not successfully resolved, and then they were moved to provincial, to national steering committee, up until the IMC. Those challenges are contained in a letter that was compiled, citing all the challenges that are at operational level, which was then signed off by the chairperson of the interministerial committee to attend to those issues that could not be addressed at operational level. The letter, I'm not sure whether it's attached to my bundle, but it's the letter that was referred to under oath by both the DPP KwaZulu-Natal as well as the Provincial Commissioner KwaZulu-Natal, the letter that was signed by the former chairperson of the IMC.
I don't
I'm sorry, just for clarity, a letter that I remember that was signed by then Minister Ele, which was referred to by the KZN Director of Public Prosecutions, is a letter which, on my understanding, preceded the formation of the PKTT. General Cele, or rather Minister Cele, in that letter was highlighting all the problems, even referring to 2012 cases, I think, all the way up to about 2018 cases. So basically saying these are the problems that have been encountered with regard to all these cases. And after all the engagements that then followed, the PKTT was formed. Now, I understand you now to be mentioning this letter in the context of an already existing PKTT, and I'm a bit confused.
Thank you, Chair. As I've indicated, that the preparations, the assessment, the compilation of plans started during May, when the National Task Team was preparing to come on board. Then from May, June, July, the letter was written when the task team was already on the ground. So most, if not all of the challenges were experienced by the task team at operational level that were escalated throughout up until the IMC level.
General, would this...
It's a pity we don't have the letter readily at hand. I would have been very interested in its date so as to relate it to the date, of the formation of the PKTT. Are our techies in a position to show us the letter? I'm just interested in the dates, that's all.
And while we're trying to find that, would this question also be answered through your annexure SDK3, which is the information note that was prepared to report on the challenges and what needs to happen going forward? And we can deal with it when we come to that annexure, perhaps, which is quite soon. It's SDK3. Have we got it? General, the letter is now available. It might be easier for you to look at it at the screen just behind you.
Oh, I see, it's 24 May 2019, so the PKTT already exists.
Yes, Chair.
As I said, I'm probably confused. It seems, I should not even say it seems. It's clear that I was. Sorry about that, General.
Chair, if I could I pause for 1 minute I actually intended to hand up as an exhibit for the assistance of the commissioners, and I think it was going to become even more important as we continue with this witness, a working chronology. And so it'll give you a quick guide as to where the witness's testimony fits in the overall timeline of events. May I seek leave to hand up that as exhibit CJC1? Thank you, Chair. Okay, so if we may then just revert to the paragraph where the witness was addressing the question of reporting lines of the PKTT, which was paragraph 36. And General, you've covered this, but could you also explain to us how often the IMC met? How often would there be reports to the IMC, and for what purpose? Was it for policy guidance, or can you just be a bit explicit about that?
Thank you, Chair, Commissioners. At political killings task team level, we were not privy to the scheduled meetings by the interministerial committee. We will get the notification as then it will be inviting us to come and brief the IMC. But based on the experience and being involved, there were meetings, one, maybe twice per year on the initial stages up until 2020 as a result of COVID-19. And then one will remember very well from our side that there was no IMC during that time. And then afterwards, and then the committee resumes to meet or to convene. So at provincial and national steering committee, as I've indicated, mainly the national steering committee will meet now and again when there will be IMC, but most importantly, towards the end of the deployment period, and then the National Steering Committee will sit and assess the performance and get a detailed threat and risk assessment so as they are able to take an informed decision in terms of extending the project or not.
Thank you.
General, when you say end of deployment, you mean the end of the authorized period?
Yes, Commissioners.
Okay.
So at the end of each, as the end of the authorized period was drawing closer, there would be a report to determine whether there's a need for the extension of the work of the PKTT, in essence.
Yes, Commissioner, that will be the case because the National Steering Committee is made up of national directors generals that are deploying the resources. That meeting will take place towards the end of each financial year, so as then they can determine, firstly, the need for the extension, so as then they can inform the IMC in advance of the extension or termination based on the current threat and risk assessment. That will be the practice then each and every financial year.
Thank you. Your next topic then is on the organogram and the structure of the PKTT, but you begin with an assessment of the work that was already ongoing by the provincial team and the challenges. So can you start at paragraph 38?
Thank you, Chair. As I've indicated briefly when I'm discussing this part of the establishment of the National Political Killings Task Team, that the IMC was formed around May 2018, and then the IMC had their initial meetings in May as well as June, when they went down to the province of KwaZulu-Natal to assess the interventions that were in place addressing the complaint or the threat or the issue that has been raised by the president. And then they received briefings from the provincial task team by then. During those two initial IMCs, where then they will do the assessment, and then one of their observations was that that task team was working in silos, and the members that were deployed in that task team, as they were from local level, they were compromised, and that more especially it did not have an investigation and prosecutorial plan or strategy. That as a result, then there was little or no progress in the investigation and prosecution of these cases, the point that I highlighted earlier on as to what is it that the National Task Team had to put in place in order to correct that situation. I touched on the plan by the political killings task team that was informed by the 5-pillar approach, which was confirmed as a solution to most of the problems that were identified by the IMC. One can add that that happened at a time, I sure, during the testimony by the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, when he highlighted that the establishment of the National Political Killing Task Team coincided with his acting period in the province. And I was also seconded to the province, not for political killings, but for provincial operations in the office of the Provincial Commissioner. So the movement from the Provincial Task Team to the National Political Killing Task Team was overseen by myself. Hence, then, it was not that difficult to compile the strategy because the strategy was emanating from the tried and tested 5-pillar approach that has been proven to be successful during the wildlife trafficking interventions. Then the same plan was then implemented in KZN.
Thank you. So can I take you to your annexure SDK3, because that speaks directly to the implementation of the strategy that you just referred to. And this is the information note, as I understand it correctly, is prepared by, well, you can say who prepared the information note. That's on SDK3.
The information note was prepared and compiled by Brigadier S.D. Khumalo, who happens to be the Lieutenant General Khumalo, the witness to the commission, on the 15th of June, 2018.
You, in other words.
Me.
It was prepared by you. Thank you. And in paragraph 3, perhaps you could just read paragraph 3 of the first page.
Paragraph 3 of the first page.
Sorry, General, before you do that, and for purpose of the record, so that when we later look at this, there's no confusion, Ms. Hassam, at page 19, it indicates, the document indicates the signature of Mkhwanazi NS, and then as you page through, unless I miss it, I don't see General Khumalo as one of the parties preparing. Well, what does it mean, General, that you prepared and yet it is signed by General Mkhwanazi?
Thank you, Commissioners. The current operational or administrative guidelines in the SAPS, in line with the command and control, the compiler of the plan, because this was the plan, will not have to attach the signature on the communication of the plan. You will only attach the signature on the plan itself that will be used at operational level, because it will be your plan. But then the plan that is inclusive of other strategic decisions then will be signed by the accounting officer of that particular environment. In this case, it was the acting Provincial Commissioner KwaZulu-Natal.
Commissioner Baloyi, could I ask you to turn to page 22, and that might answer your question. It's not page 22 of the information note, so I believe it's the last page.
I see that.
At the bottom, it indicates information note compiled by Brigadier S.
Thank you for that.
So, sorry, to go back to where you were, General, you were talking about implementation of a new strategy now, right? Could you please read paragraph 3 on page, of the first page of the information note?
Paragraph 3 of paragraph 2 under background reads, the IMC in full interministerial committee met with the task team that was investigating these cases on the 21st of May 2018, and one of the preliminary observations was that this multidisciplinary task team was working in silos and that it does not have an investigation and prosecutorial plan or strategy that is aligned to the overall government priorities contained in the National Development Plan 2030, the medium-term strategic framework, and other key policy prescripts of creating safe and secure environment.
Thank you. And then on page 15 of that bundle, so 2 pages over, is paragraph 3 addressing then the proposed strategy? Is that what is being set out in paragraph 3? And related to that, is this your 5-pillar approach?
Thank you, Commissioners. Yes, indeed, paragraph 3, that is having a heading, the operational approach and concepts. It talks to the approach that I've explained of the establishment of the mission area and tactical areas, and also further on, it lists the competencies or expertise that will be needed in terms of the 5-pillar approach to implement the plan.
Thank you. And if we then turn to page, page 19 to begin with.
Can I just ask, sorry, I do apologize for this delayed question. General, in where you set out the pillars, and that's bullet point 3, and then there is a sub-bullet there, which is the second one, the second sub-bullet after 3. It's so the first one is crime intelligence gathers, and then the second one is NIU and TRT to implement. You see that? You see where I'm referring?
Yes.
Yes. Are you able, without disclosing anything that you shouldn't be disclosing, if there are any anxieties coming from my question, why it is that it is the NIU and TRT that are deployed for this kind of project as against the usual policing units that you may have? And I ask because they both in urban legend have the reputation of being tough, and when they appear, no nonsense. We are told to stop our nonsense when they appear. Is there a particular reason that it is these units that are being used?
Thank you, Commissioner. Maybe let me start by